what can we do to be competitive going forward? But to do that, you're going to have to disrupt what you do today. And that's painful. And how I came out, a way to explain this is, I've been doing disruptive innovation in Silicon Valley for 30 years. 28 patents, blah, blah, blah. But Brene Brown and I were on a speaking tour together. And Brene, if you haven't read Daring Greatly, how many have read Daring Greatly in here? Some of you. It is an amazing, amazing book. And it's really great work that she did at University of Houston. How the courage to be vulnerable transform the way we live, love, parent, and lead. And there's a good chapter in this book on me, actually, because we ran into each other, and she heard my talk on innovation, and I heard her talk on daring and being imperfect and being scared, and we started to put the two together and said, you know what? They're actually the same. Because if you want to disruptively innovate, you have to be okay with shame. Let me say it again. If I want to disruptively innovate, I have to be okay with shame. And the reason is, people are not going to like what I say. They're not going to agree with what I say. And a good portion of the time, I will have been wrong, and I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with being wrong. Not in the human culture to do that, but it's absolutely critical. And it's critical to do with your teams, to say, I want you to take a risk. It's okay to take a risk. And even if you fail, I will reward you for taking the risk. No risk equals no reward. So that's where I came up with this, and Brene and I both talk about risk and vulnerability, and that they go hand in hand, and you have to be okay with being vulnerable. Now, arguably the biggest risk taker of our time was this guy. He started a company. He got fired from his company. He finally comes back when the company is essentially bankrupt. And what's he do? He doesn't say, well, I'm a computer company, I'm going to make better computers. He kind of does that, but he says, yeah, that's kind of interesting, but I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a music player. I'm going to make a music player because a music player is going to be a cool thing. And I'm going to make a music player, even though there's 50 other music players on the market, and I'm going to sell songs for 99 cents even though people can get them for free. So he had a vision, and what worked here was his board said, do whatever you want. The thing's bankrupt anyway. We already fired you at least once. Who cares? And that one action from a board that was complacent and didn't care allowed Apple to be the most profitable company in history. Now think about that. Because any regular board, those of you who report to boards or up to boards, know that a board would say, listen, we're failing in the computer business. What are you doing thinking of music? Are you crazy? This board was asleep at the wheel, and that's what allowed this to work. So he invented the iPod, him and Tony Fadell. Actually, Tony ran the team, which led to the iPod Touch, which was the first complex operating system on a handheld device, which led to a phone. Now think about this. At that time, this is 10 years ago, a computer company that says, I know, I'm going to make a phone. Phones were for Sony and Ericsson and Nokia and a few other people. They were not for a computer company. It was a ridiculous idea. And still the board said, phone, schmone, whatever, I don't even know what you're doing. And that worked, as a matter of fact, because it allowed Steve and his team to take those risks.